Hello and welcome to Financial Insight. My name is Clarence Chongo, and today we are discussing the energy crisis in Zambia. I've got with me here Dr. Johnstone Chikwanda. He is an influencer in energy cycles, energy-related topics, and is a highly sought-after thought leader in those fields. He's also an entrepreneur and an educator. Dr. Chikwanda, welcome to Financial Insight.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here on this platform for the first time, and greetings to our viewers and listeners.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're discussing the energy crisis in Zambia. So to start with, if you could just articulate what's going on, what has happened and what's led us to the point where we are facing sometimes in excess of 12 hours of load shedding every day in this country.
Mm-hmm. What is going on is tragic. To be open, transparent, and honest. Mm-hmm. I would like to summarize it using the words of an ancient Greek philosopher who once said that whatever has come into being has come into being by virtue of its history. Mm-hmm. And so the understanding of the history is very important, because things do not just slide into existence and manifestation. They were triggered by certain things that happened or that did not happen. Mm-hmm. In our situation, the writing was on the wall more than even 15 years ago. It was known that we are going to go through serious challenges. Mm-hmm. When you read the 60th National Development Plan, we had the early warning signs. Mm-hmm. And that particular National Development Plan started providing for diversification of the energy generation mm-hmm. mix. Mm-hmm. And then we slid into 2015 when we had a catastrophic drought, which almost collapsed the economy, 2015, 2016 there, which coincided with the 7th National Development Plan. Mm-hmm. When you read that particular document, it is one of the best national development plans that I've ever read in terms of how it sought to improve the energy security for the country, contribute to energy security for the region, including a very well-articulated implementation plan and the budget thereof, and how to deal with the bottlenecks that have hindered the development of the energy sector. Fast forward, end of the 7th National Development Plan, we only emerged with less than 100 megawatts of solar energy, which is not even a drop in the ocean. So we are in this space because we inadequately failed to diversify the energy generation mix. It's a planning and implementation issue. That is why we are in this. I know there is an issue of rainfall, but at the bottom of it, truth be told, it is an implementation. It's a planning and implementation issue of the 7th National Development Plan, of the diversification of the energy generation portfolio. If that happened, I do not think we'll be in this kind of situation that we are in as a country, because we'll have already been tapping into geothermal, we'll have been tapping into solar energy, we'll have been tapping into wind energy, because with the help of the Germans, the wind resource mapping for the country is already known. And wind energy is even better than solar energy, because you'll be generating even during the night. We could have been tapping even into coal itself, because we have potential for coal. I know it is being frowned upon by the climate diplomats, but we also know that Africa is contributing less than 4% to the global warming. And we have to be careful in the way we are managing our energy transition so as not to strand some assets. We need to tap in there maybe 1,000 megawatts of core as well to help balance the energy generation matrix. Indeed. So to answer the question, how did we find ourselves here? We have found ourselves here because we were not able to adequately implement our own plans, which we put in place to address a gloomy forecast that we were able to see some years ago.
Indeed. Okay, so what I would like us to do, and thank you very much for articulating that, by the way, is to now focus on the economic effects of the crisis that we find ourselves in, the economic impact of inadequate power generation and of load management, power rationing, whichever way you want to phrase it. So how has the inadequate power generation and load shedding affected industrial productivity in Zambia? And what are the potential economic consequences of reduced productivity?
First and foremost, I would like to start on the positive side,
okay,
before looking on the other side of the divide. Necessity is a mother of invention. It is during times of crisis that greatness can emerge, that innovations emerge, that a migration, a forced migration, which should have happened on its own, but during adversity times, it is easier to force a migration to a platform where you want people to be. This crisis has presented a lot of opportunities,
okay,
in that it has amplified and highlighted the opportunities that exist around the renewable energy product. So there is almost a new industry which has been there, but the way it is growing. So there is a lot of business around batteries, around solar panels, around renewable inverters, and around this. It's amazing how they are selling in the shops. Even just those rechargeable lamps. If you go in builders, well, you won't even find them. The other week I was in Mikma, I don't know where I'm permitted to mention, I never found them. So they are selling like hot cakes. So we are seeing an industry emerging. We are seeing a pool of consultants emerging, people that are supposed to be installing renewable energy products. Because as you know, it's a technical issue to just install solar panels and battery system around someone's house.
You need skills.
You need skills. And as a country, we do not have adequate skills. So in addressing the migration, we also need to address the issue of upskilling. That skills development levy, or whatever method to TAVETA and all these trade schools, this is where we need to train a lot of people. So there are training opportunities that have emerged. There are business opportunities that have emerged. And during moments like this, it is also easier to migrate people. Like what happened in 2015, the whole population was migrated to energy-saving bulbs. They had not been doing it on their own, but when times became adversity, although it was reinforced by a statutory instrument, we saw a migration, and as a result of that, we started saving about 200 megawatts of power just by migrating the population. We are seeing innovations coming up now. Fridges which are powered by solar, and geysers as well, which are hybrid. We have been aware about solar geysers, but now we have hybrid geysers. These hybrid geysers, they have got two elements, both for using ZESCO power and also solar. You just decide which switch to switch on. So we've seen innovations, even in pressing irons. We have seen a lot of innovations which have come up to try and assist the migration. So there is something around the positive side which is happening there, and also to push R&D. That's what doing it is, pushing R&D, research and development. It's pushing it a lot. Yeah, but on the downward side, the consequences are petrifying, to say the least, because energy is the lifeblood. That is what drives an economy.
Indeed.
And when you don't have it, you have a state of what is known as energy poverty, which is the lack of electricity as and when everyone wants it. It's not there. So you are in a state of energy poverty. And it has affected not just the big industries, it has affected even the small enterprises. They have been affected terribly, in the sense that 12 hours is essentially, if power went in the morning, you don't have the whole day power. So if you have a bakery, if you have a butchery, if it's a salon, and welding at really, really micro level and going up, you are terribly affected. But also affected is the national utility company, ZESCO itself.
Yes.
Because it survives by selling the commodity called electricity.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't have the commodity to sell. And yet its fixed costs, operational costs are still there. So this company is actually in a state of technical bankruptcy. And I shudder to think what would happen by the time that will be reaching December. Because in the words of the MD for ZESCO himself, he said that ZESCO is losing $35 million every month because of lost revenue. Just protracted to 10 months, that's $350 million. If we go a full cycle a year, that's really $400 million. Plus what was lost last year, because we also had load shedding, plus the other year. So you can see that within maybe the past 3-4 years, ZESCO has lost $1 billion in lost revenue because of just load shedding. So it's not just its customers who get affected, it also gets affected. Government also gets affected because of perforations. You cannot get revenue from companies that are ailing, that are failing to produce, that are not active. So your level of tax collections becomes reduced. But that's direct because of lack of electricity. But the cost of migration also, abrupt migration and recourse to other forms of energy like using generators, it's very, very expensive, because diesel, petrol is also been going up in the pricing. So to keep an industrial genset running for 12 hours, it's not a joke.
Indeed.
It's not. Some businesses are virtually operating at a loss because it is wiping out their margin. It also compromises the security. It is proven by studies that energy security is directly related to national security. There is a correlation. And it is true, because when you have prolonged load shedding, especially at night, criminal activities tend to increase. A number of people that I know, their houses have been broken into during this time.
Because the security systems
are down. Then they know that there is no chance. Even the electric fence here, most likely it's not working. And sometimes people are failing to enter, the gates are failing to open because the batteries have also drained. Because if you have a good battery, it will give you maybe 7 hours. But beyond that, the batteries are also draining. So it's a whole range, economic, social, psychological issues, perspectives as well. It's not just economic. People are also psychologically affected because of
level
this.
Of stress.
The level of stress is a good word. So it's It's really, really petrifying, and with very grave consequences. Energy Regulation Board had run a study a while ago to try and investigate the impact of load shedding, so that we put figures to it. I think that report is on their website, but there is significant damage to the economy, such that the danger to slide into a recession cannot actually be ruled out if we do not have significant recourse to other forms of energy. Yeah.
Which drives me very nicely to my next question, because we're going to look at the effect on the SMEs and just looking at what solutions are available in this environment, strategies that can be employed to support and protect SMEs. What do you think?
The response, I think, focus here is at different levels. At the government level, obviously, government should be in a position to, for instance, stop the importation in the country of electric geysers.
Okay.
So that you force a migration to hybrid geysers. By so doing, you'll be reducing the pressure on the national grid. In all government offices, including private sector offices, but government infrastructure, for instance, the security lights, things look very simple, but security lights draw a lot of electricity. There is no need at this time to keep them on throughout the night in an era of artificial intelligence. There are what are known as the motion sensors.
Indeed.
These motion sensors are very affordable, very cheap. You put them in a strategic place, maybe on an offense, wherever you can put it. Or if you are fortunate, you buy security light fittings, which come embedded with the motion sensors. So the motion sensors will keep all the lights off until there is an intrusion on your premises. That's when they come on. When the intrusion has gone, again the lights switch off. It is small things like this, but when spread out across the country, you are going to save electricity. There is a need to drive heavy sensitization to improve the way people use electricity. Because of our historical background, we are coming from a legacy of cheap electricity. Up to now, people are not really appreciating that electricity has never been cheap. It is because it was being subsidized. That's why you can go to offices, you are going to find lights on in unoccupied offices. It's not just at home, but even at the offices, lights are supposed to be switched off in all unoccupied rooms, whether it is at the office or it is at the work. So this is a mindset shift that we need to inculcate in our people, camp around them, ensure that they begin to know that I cannot run my tap is running whilst I'm brushing my teeth. I cannot let the shower is running when I'm applying bar soap on my body. So we need to educate. Somebody must come up and drive that kind of campaign. Government must lead through ZESCO itself, because it has contributed to exposing the country to this vulnerability. It has always known about this danger, but it continued to depend on one source of income for itself, one source of energy for the people. At least it should have read as an industry statesman. By now, ZESCO should have had a couple of hundreds of solar energy owned by itself, not by independent power producers, because an industry statesman drives the pathway. That's a pathfinder who must be showing this is where we are going, this is what we are doing. So in terms of interventions, there are issues at policy level, but also at the individual level, we need to respond by ensuring that we start migrating to other forms of energy for cooking, gas. Now there's this brigades for those that are using charcoal, but also that narrative, the talk around that, we need to navigate a bit more visibly in terms of positioning the charcoal replacement options, because you cannot just ban the use of charcoal without positioning easy access to other forms of energy. Where are people going to find the gas? How easy is it to use it? Because others are scared. And the other forms of products as well. So there is a lot of sensitization also which need to be done. Otherwise, helping people as well to have easy access to financing, every shopping mall, even this one must have solar installation, even at household level, but upfront payments, a bit on the steep side. We want to see the benefits of the waived taxes on renewable energy products being passed on to the people. Looks like the traders are taking advantage of that to optimize the profit margins and not passing them over to the people, to the consumer. So that needs to be interrogated and have organic conversation with these traders. Why is this happening? And then create an intervention that will drive that benefit to the people. Yeah.
A very positive note to end on, Dr. Chikwanda. I would like to thank you very much. This has been a very mind-opening discussion. I think the key takeaway from me is that there are things that can be done and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much for being here with us on the Financial Insight Show, Dr. Chikwanda.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was Dr. Chikwanda on the Financial Insight Show. My name is Clarence, and please get to know.